Hello everybody, what is going on? My name is CoLiNieS and welcome back today to another video. So today we're going to be breaking down the top 10 Nintendo Easter eggs of all time. Not too many rules in this one, just has to be a Nintendo published game. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the video. This one is certainly a classic. Any kid growing up in the 90s heard plenty of rumors about Super Mario 64. Whether it's Luigi being the game or Peach being naked after a certain number of coins, hardly any of them were true, but surprisingly this one was. If you got 120 stars, a cannon in the castle courtyard opens up, and from there you can shoot up to the roof and see Yoshi. He gave you 100 lives and even some cool jumping sparkly stuff. But unfortunately you can't play with him, which is kind of a disappointment, but nonetheless this is still an awesome Easter egg. Masahiro Sakurai is certainly an interesting dude. It's also no secret that the Japanese love cats. Whether it's in video games or as a pet, Sakurai is no exception. So when players entered a match of Pokemon Stadium 2 on Super Smash Bros. Brawl, a couple of curious eyes saw this, a picture of Masahiro Sakurai's cat posted up on the wall of the house. I mean, you gotta admit, that's pretty cool. Cool enough for this list, am I right? The late 90s were a very heated time in the video game industry, and the two main competitors were Nintendo and Sony. I'm sure most of you know the history of Nintendo and Sony, and if you don't, here's a quick recap. Basically, Nintendo requested Sony's help to create a Super Nintendo CD attachment to compete with rival Sega's. Everything was going smooth until the day of CES 1991, when Sony announced their partnership with Nintendo, and then the very next day, Nintendo changed their direction and announced a partnership with Sony's rival Philips. This is why you'll see Zelda CDI games. So while it seems they have smoothed things over nowadays, back in the day there were still some sour feelings. So when the game Hey You Pikachu came out, some players thought it would be funny to say PlayStation into the microphone, but Pikachu wasn't so happy about that.
In Hey You Pikachu for the Nintendo 64, if you say PlayStation, Pikachu will get angry.
For some reason, Nintendo games hardly have any crossovers. For a company so jam-packed with first-party IPs, seeing their characters in other games is quite a rarity. One of the exceptions is Ocarina of Time. When you're talking to Zelda in the courtyard of Hyrule Castle, go to the side and look through the window. You will see paintings of Yoshi, Mario, Peach, Luigi, and Bowser. Pretty cool. Also, as a quick side note, these paintings were removed in the 3DS version. It's unknown why. I'll be honest, I'm not too sure what to say about this one. I mean, really, how can anyone explain this? This Easter egg seems like some nightmare I had as a kid. It's pretty funny, really. But yeah, there's not much to explain about this one, just listen.
You have chosen poorly. If you were any good, you could get a turbo by hitting the gas when the light goes green.
3, 2, 1!
Is that the best you could do? Pathetic. Ooh, a turbo! Adequate. Rick. Your wings are like diamonds, kid. Very rare.
As I stated earlier in this list, Nintendo isn't one to show their other characters in their other games all that often, and when they do, it's never that special. Whether it's the paintings in Ocarina or the crowd in Kirby Superstar, there's hardly any appearances better than this one. Square Enix took up the Mario name to make an RPG for the Super Nintendo, and while they were at it, they decided to serve up some Nintendo fanfare. Both Samus and Link are found in the game, and for some reason, both found sleeping in beds. Walk up to Samus and she will say, "I'm resting up for Mother Brain." Walk up to Link and this sound plays. This is pretty awesome, even by today's standards. Let's all be honest for a second, any of us would kill for the chance to be featured in a Nintendo game. So when Nintendo Power held a contest for a room in the upcoming Zelda game, A Link to the Past, to be named after you, it would be a dream to win. Well, that dream came true for a young kid, Chris Julian. He was given his own top secret room in which he says, "My name is Chris Julian. This is my top secret room. Keep it between us, okay?" This room is only available in the North American version of the game, and was taken out of the game in later versions and the Game Boy Advance re-release. No one is too sure why, and no one has heard anything from Chris Julian himself, so speculation will continue. For supposed kids game, Mario has had its creepy moments, and yes, I'm looking right at you, Piano. But I feel nothing compares to the Hell Valley Sky Tree. You might be asking, what in the world is that? Well, in Super Mario Galaxy 2, if you go to the Shipperburn Galaxy, specifically the level Prince Peppery Mood, go into first-person view and look at the glacier cliffs. You will see 3 very eerie figures looking down on you. When people look at the names of these textures, they were called the Hell Valley Sky Tree, a very odd name for a texture in a Mario game. In the more recently released Super Mario 3D Land, go to World 4 Level 4. At the very end of the level, hop up onto the wall and face the fence. Wait a few seconds, you will see a very similar figure appear. Could this thing also be the Hell Valley Sky Tree? Why does Nintendo continue to put these disturbing figures in Mario games? Well, we won't truly know until someone from Nintendo says something, which is probably unlikely. One thing I am certainly curious about is if these figures made an appearance in Super Mario 3D World, since Super Mario Galaxy 2 and 3D Land were the 2 newest 3D Mario games. It's somewhat safe to assume they were adding these figures in all of the new Mario games. Well, only time will tell, but it's definitely something I'm interested in. Many games go through multiple stages in their development. I mean, look at this early footage of Ocarina of Time. It looks insanely different from the final game, but I feel like no game can live up to the history of Banjo-Kazooie. It started as a Super Nintendo game codenamed Project Dream. It was a seafaring RPG using Rare's patented technique of pre-rendered graphics previously seen in Donkey Kong Country. As the development went on, the team decided the game was much too ambitious for the Super Nintendo, and they decided to move development to the upcoming Nintendo Ultra 64. But unfortunately for the team at Rare, more problems plagued the project. It was decided that the 3D RPG style game they wanted to create was all but a pipe dream, so they then decided to transform their game into a 3D platformer, along the lines of the very successful Mario 64. They also decided that the game's main protagonist, Edison, was far too generic and boring. It was decided that the game's protagonist would be a forest animal. In a competition with a dog and a rabbit, the bear from Project Dream, Banjo, would be the main character. One of the characters from Project Dream, Captain Black Eye, who was the main antagonist of the game, is seen in a pub in Banjo-Tooie. After approaching him, he will eventually admit that a bear, very similar to you, stole his spotlight, and that he once had a dream. This is a clear reference to Project Dream. Many characters from Banjo-Kazooie were originally in Project Dream. Tootie was originally Banjo's girlfriend, which is kinda weird to know because she became Banjo's sister in Banjo-Kazooie, as well as Grunty, who was a giant, but was then changed into the main antagonist in the new game. Kazooie also made an appearance, but only as a baby bird in a nest. All in all, this is a very interesting backstory and makes you wonder more and more about Project Dream and what it could have been. Rumor has it, there is a demo somewhere at the Rare offices, but unless it's ever released to the public, all we're left with is this screenshot. Nintendo is famous for the amazing music in their video games. One of the men behind some of your favorite tunes is Kazumi Totaka. But he is also behind some tunes that aren't hidden in our favorite games. Spanning from 1990 to 2014, Totaka has been hiding this simplistic tune in almost every game he's ever worked on. Starting on the 1990 release X for the Game Boy, this small tune might be in more games than you think, with appearances in Super Mario Land 2, Link's Awakening, the Virtual Boy's own Wario Land, Yoshi's Story, Luigi's Mansion, every single one of the Animal Crossing games, Yoshi Touch and Go, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Wii Sports, and most lately, Yoshi's New Island. Totaka's song has been the talking point of many forums, and the best part is, it keeps living. Unlike many Easter eggs, this one spans tons of games, decades, and even generations. That's why this one is number 1. Not only is it creative, unique, it's also an ongoing legend that will live on forever in gaming glory. My name's CoLiNieS, and thank you all for watching my video. Hey, thank you for watching my video, I really appreciate it. If you want more of my content, make sure to hit that big subscribe button, as well as check out my top 8 Mario Kart 8 tracks, as well as my top 10 Mario games videos. You can also watch me play video games live. I'm actually playing through Wind Waker HD, and I'm doing Mario Kart 8 tournaments almost every single night on my Twitch.tv channel. Link is down in the description. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter and Facebook. We're trying to hit 100 likes on the Facebook page, so if you could help out with that one, I would really appreciate it. But basically, I post video updates and live stream, news all the time. It's a really good way to keep up with my channel. But yeah, shout out to screwattack.com. Shout out to everybody watching this video. Really appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you all next time.